In this video, we're going to look at finding the area and perimeter of compound shapes. This is an example of a compound shape. We can see that we've got two rectangles here. To find the area, we can just split this up, and there are lots of different ways to do it, and then add the areas. So what I'll do to start with is find the area of this compound shape. What I'm going to do is draw a line across here. So if I draw a line across here, I have two rectangles. I've got the dimensions that I need, 14 by 4 and 6 by 4, and I can simply work out the area from there. Another option would be to split this into three rectangles. So we could have a rectangle to the left, we could have one in the middle, and we could have one to the right. I personally think it's easier going for the two, as the dimensions certainly help us out when we have the other configuration. Alternatively, I could find the area of the large rectangle and work out the size of the area of the two smaller rectangles that have been taken away. It's entirely up to you. So if I wanted at this stage, I could just try and find now the area of these two and take it away from the larger rectangle. I think with this particular example, it's easiest just to split it as we did in the first way. So let's get rid of these and let's go ahead and split this up. So what I'm going to do is draw the line across here. I've got a rectangle at the top and one at the bottom. The rectangle at the top is going to be 6 times by 4, so it's the length times the width. So 6 times by 4, that's going to give me 24 centimetres squared. This one we've got now on here 14 times by 4, so 14 times by 4, that's going to give me 56 centimetres squared. So I can say now that the total area is just adding the two together. So 24 plus the 56, and that's going to give me now 80 centimetres squared. Remember the correct units, it's an area, so it's going to be squared. What I'm now going to look to do is find the perimeter. If I take the information off, it will be slightly easier for us to see. We won't always be given each length on the side of this shape. So what we need to do is go round and add them. If this one is 4 centimetres, then this one right here is going to be 4 centimetres too. If this one is 4, this one is going to be 4 just here. So I can put on 4 centimetres here. If we look now, the only one we're missing is this one just here. I've got 5 centimetres and 6 centimetres, which is 11 centimetres. The bottom is 14 centimetres, so this one is going to be 3 centimetres. Do check that you have all of the dimensions on. Sometimes people forget to add them and leave it out on the perimeter. So if we work out the perimeter, we're simply adding all of the lengths together. So it'll be 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus the 14 plus the 4 plus the 5, and then we're going to have plus 4. So adding this up, we've got 10, 13, 17, we've got 31, 35, 44 in total. So that's going to be equal now to 44 centimetres. And remember, the perimeter is a length, so it'll be centimetres rather than centimetres squared. If you want, go round this and check now that you have all of the sides. So what I'm going to do is just go round. This is 6, so that's 6. We've done that one. 10, 13, 17. Then we're going to have 31 along here. We're going to have 35. We're going to have 40, and we're going to have 44. So I can see that I've been right the way around the outside and not left any out. Let's have a go at another one. So with this one, we have a slightly different scenario. Let's look at what we could do here. I could go and draw a line across here and here. So we would go across here. I could do one just there, and that would give me 3 different rectangles. What I need to do here is find the length of each of these. So what I'm going to do is write on them what we have. So on the first one, we can see the top triangle here, the top rectangle here. This is going to give me a 6 by 2 rectangle. So that's the top rectangle. So finding the area, we're going to have a 6 by 2. If we look at this one, we can see that this length right here is going to be 4. This one is going to be 8. So this length right here is going to be 4. And I'll put it just there. We've got 4 centimetres. So that one is going to be 4. And then we have this one, which is going to be 2. I've then got this one just here, which is going to be an 8 by 2. I'm going to work out the area of each and add them together. You could have worked out the area of the entire thing and taken away this part right here. It's entirely up to you. So this one, this is going to be 6 by 2, and that's going to give me 12 centimetres squared. This one right here is going to be 4 by 2, and that's going to give me 8 centimetres squared. This one right here is an 8 by 2, and that's going to give me 16 centimetres squared. So if I add these up, I'm going to have now, in total, 36 centimetres squared. So we can say that the area is going to be 12 plus 8 plus 16, and that is going to give me 36 centimetres squared. So that is my final answer, and I've got all of that on there. Okay, so that's what we have. Now, with this one, if we wanted to work out the perimeter, we could go ahead and do that. What we need to do is be a little careful. So I'm just going to get rid of the information on here, and we're going to look at finding all of these lengths. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just get rid of these, and we will go and find those. If we look now, we're missing some of these. It might be worth your while going round with a highlighter or a pen to see which ones you've got and which ones you need. We have that one. We have that one given to us. We have this one given to us. We've got this one right here. Let's put that one on. We've got this one, and we've got this one. So what we need to do is label up the ones we don't have. If we now consider this length right here, we've got 2, 2 and 2. We can see that these are all at right angles or perpendicular. Therefore, what we can say now is that the height is going to be in total 6. So 2, 2 and 2 gives me 6. And I'm going to write that on just here. So this one is going to be just here. That's going to give us 6. So we've got 6 centimetres. We only need this one right here now. We know that this length right here is going to be 4. So if I just jot across, we know this one was 4 from earlier, as we got 4 and 4, which makes 8. Therefore, this one right here must be 2 centimetres, as we got 6. So that's one way that you could write that down. So let's go ahead now and just add these up. You might want to mark them down as you go. So we got 6, and I'll write them just here. Let's write it here. 6, then we're going to add 2. We're going to add another 2, so plus 2, plus another 2, so just adding these up. Then we're going to have 4 plus 4 plus the 2 down here. Then we're going to have plus 8 and plus 6. So plus 8 and plus 6. So just adding these up, that's going to give me 10, 12, 16, 18, 26. So the perimeter is going to be 32 centimetres. So with this one, make sure you're finding the missing lengths and going from there. Let's move on. This one here now, we could do a couple of different things with. We could split this into a rectangle and a triangle, which seems quite logical here. So we'd have a rectangle and a triangle. Or what we could do is split this up into one trapezium here and then another trapezium just there. I personally think it's easier to think about this now, splitting it the other way, especially given the limited dimensions that we've got. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and split this up. So what we have here now is a triangle and a rectangle. If we look at this length here, what we can do is split this up. I know that this is going to be 12 centimetres in total. This part is 8, so this part must be 4. This is parallel here, so this is going to be 10. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, so the area is the base times by the height divided by 2. So I can write in here now that the area here is going to be 10 times by 4 divided by 2, which is going to give me now on here a total of 20 centimetres squared. So that is the area of the triangle. All we're looking for with a triangle is a perpendicular height and a base. This one right here is going to be 10 by 8. So the area of this one is going to be 10 by 8, which is going to give me now 80 centimetres squared. A common error is to take the 12 and multiply it by the 10, or even sometimes 12 by 8. So we can see now that the total area of this one, so let's go ahead and do that, the area is going to be 20 plus the 80, which is going to give us 100 centimetres squared. So that now is what we have. We don't have enough information on this to find the perimeter, and in a more challenging question they might give you some or one of the dimensions and some form of angle to work that out. But for now we will just find the area of that shape. Okay, let's look at this one right here. What we have here are lots of different shapes, or we could view this as a rectangle with a triangle removed. That's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is find the area of this one right here. So what we've got then is a triangle, and my triangle is just here, and I'll just show you what I've got. I've got this like so. That has a perpendicular height of 3. If this length is 6 and it's parallel to this top one, we can say that the base of the triangle is going to be 4. So what I have here is a rectangle, and I'm going to work out the entire size or entire area of the rectangle. So if we look at the rectangle, so jotting this down, we've got the rectangle. We're going to have now 5 times by 6. So we can say that the area is going to be 5 times by 6, and that's going to give me 30 centimetres squared. All of these examples have been in centimetres. If it's in metres, put it as metres squared. Let's now look at the triangle. So it's the base times the height divided by 2. So this is going to be 3 times by 4 divided by 2, and just writing this in the area. So that's going to give me now, in total on here, we're going to get 6. So 12 over 2 is going to give me 6, and that's 6 centimetres squared. I now need to do the rectangle minus the triangle as I'm cutting it out. So what I'm doing is taking away the triangle from here. So we're going to have a total area which is going to be 30 minus 6. So that gives me 24 centimetres squared. So this time I've taken it out. I've found the area of the triangle and subtracted it from the rectangle. Again, with this one, with the information that we have in terms of finding the perimeter of this, it's a bit beyond the scope of what I want to do. We certainly could find it, but in terms of where I want to be with this, I'm going to leave it as it is. I might do a different video on finding the perimeter. If you do want to do that though, what you can do is consider that you have now, and I just drop this down, let's go ahead and draw this. You can consider that this is a triangle like so. You can drop a perpendicular down there. You have now one of the shorter sides at 3, another shorter side at 2. You can use Pythagoras to find that. In fact, we'll do this. We may as well do this. Let's do that now, and we'll go ahead and split this up. So what we can do with this one now, if we look at this, is just say to ourselves, we need these 2 lengths here. So if you want to leave the learning alone at this point and not do that, that's perfectly fine. So with this one, what we'll do is take this on, and we will say now that the length right here, let's put this on. So let's go ahead and put the triangle on, and I'll put that in. We're going to have this height, which is going to be 3. We're going to have now the next length right here, which is going to be, let's put that on. That is going to be 2. So using Pythagoras from here, we can say that if this is going to be 2 and this is going to be 3, this will be, now the length right here will be the square root of 2 squared plus 3 squared, as this is the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle. So if I look at this, this is going to be the square root of 4 plus 9. That's going to give me the square root of 13. That is the square root of 13. This one is, so what we're going to have is the following. And I'll allow you to add it and then round it. That is the square root of 13. This one is going to be the square root of 13. then we're just going to simply have the 5 here. We're going to have now the 6 just here. We're going to have the 5 here, and we're going to have now the 2 just there. So that's one particular method that you could use. Let's move on and look at another one. This time we have a V shape. The easiest thing to do with this is to find the area of the larger triangle and subtract away the smaller triangle. So if I draw what I'm going to do, what we've got is the following. We've got a large triangle, so all we need is the base times height divided by 2. Then what I'm going to do is take away this smaller triangle just here. So if I do that, we can put that on. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to subtract away this triangle here. Don't be worried about turning this picture the other way round if you prefer to see it the other way round. I'm happy with it like this, but you might want to turn it round. So if we look at the larger triangle, what I can write down now and just change it over, the larger triangle, so we'll call it LT, and we will have now, and we'll write this in white, we've got now a base. The base is going to be 3 plus 4 plus 3, which is going to give me 10, multiplied by the height, divided by 2, and that's going to give me 50 centimeters squared. So that's the large triangle. So all I'm going to do is sketch that. If we now look at the smaller triangle has a base of 4 and a height of 5. So 4 times by 5 divided by 2 is going to give me 10 centimeters squared. So that now is my smaller triangle. So I'm going to do the larger triangle minus the smaller triangle. So that will give me now 50 minus 10, which is going to give us 40 centimeters squared. So that's my answer, 40 centimeters squared. I've just taken it away. Let's have a look at one more. This time we have now a shape that we can split up. We can split this into a rectangle and a trapezium. So one thing that I could do here is draw one line across this point just here. If you're unsure about the trapezium, you can look to split this into a rectangle, a triangle, a rectangle, and another triangle. If you're doing an exam, generally the area of a trapezium is given. So with a trapezium, and just writing this down, we can say that the area is going to be equal to A plus B over 2 multiplied by H. All this is telling me to do is take A, the top, add it to B, which is the bottom, so these are the 2 parallel sides, and multiply it by the perpendicular height. So if I wanted to put these values on here, this would be A, this would be B, as these are the parallel sides, and this would be H. So all we're doing is now adding the 2 together, dividing by 2, and multiplying it by the height. So let's go ahead and work out now the area of the trapezium. So if we do that, the area of the trapezium, we can say now that area is going to be equal to, we've got 1, and we know that this is parallel to the bottom, so this is going to be 3. So it's going to be 1 plus 3 divided by 2 multiplied now by 1. And that's going to give us in total, we can see 3 over, so what have we got? 1 plus 3, which is going to give us 4. 4 over 2 is going to give us now 2. So that is going to give us 2 meters squared. So that's the area of a trapezium. We've got a 3 by 2 here, so a straightforward rectangle. 3 by 2 is going to give me 6 meters squared. So the area will simply be the sum now of 2 plus 6, which is going to be 8 meters squared. So all I've done is found now the area of the trapezium, adding the top and the bottom, the 2 parallel sides, and multiplying by the perpendicular height and halving it. As stated with this one, if you were unsure, I'll take the workings off now, and what we could do is split this up like so. So what we'll do if we split it up, if you were unsure, is now to have a perpendicular here, and then we'd have 1 just there. So from here we can see now that we have a 1 and a 1. So if we put these on, this is 1, we know this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, and this is 1. So all we would do is work out the area of this. So it's 1 times by 1 divided by 2, so that would give me 1/2. This is a 1 by 1, which is going to give me 1, and this is 1 times 1 divided by 2, which is going to give me another half. So we can see, again, that's going to be equal to 2 meters squared, and then we have 3 times by 2, which is going to give us 6 meters squared. So either way round, we're going to end up now with 8 meters squared. Again, if we wanted to find the perimeter of this one, we would use Pythagoras on it. So let's just look at the perimeter, and I'll take these off. What we'll have is the following. If I just, in fact, we'll leave that just there. If I wanted to find the perimeter, let's go around and look at the missing lengths. This one we can write nice and easy. That's going to be 2 meters. What I have here is 1, 1, and a right angle. So this is going to be the square root of 1 squared plus 1 squared, which is the square root of 2. I will have exactly the same here and exactly the same here. So this will be the square root of 2. So if I look to add it up now, I can walk my way around, and we're going to have now 1 plus 1 lot of root 2. Again, if you're asked to give this as an exact answer, you could say it's root 2. Otherwise, you could find that on the calculator. We've got 2 down the side, 3 along the bottom. We've got 2 back up here, and then we've got another square root of 2. So just adding this up and writing now the perimeter. So the perimeter is going to be equal to 1 plus root 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus another root 2. So this gives us in total, we've got 3, 6, 8. So 8 plus 2 lots of root 2, which you could find on a calculator. If we put this in, we're going to have 8 plus 2 lots of root 2, and that will give us now in total 10.8 meters, and that is correct to 1 decimal place. So 10.8 meters, and that is the perimeter, and we've given that now to 1 decimal place. It's highly unlikely that you would be asked that earlier down on a paper, but if you're pushing your way up towards the higher grades, it is a possibility that you might get something like that.